Fine structure constant alpha. Disclosure of the mystery of the number alpha. Contents Part 1. Introduction. A very important law of nature which determines the course of wave processes was discovered by us in the framework of the wave model. In the previous video I already mentioned this briefly. Namely, it was found that the value of the ratio of the transverse wave lambda t of superstructure to the longitudinal wave lambda of the basis characterizes a strict scale correlation that exists between two characteristic parameters of wave processes related respectively to the superstructure and the basis of the wave. As for the ratio of speeds, v is the oscillation speed of the superstructure of the wave process. The speed c is the basis phase speed of propagation of the wave process. The basis speed vector coincides with the wave vector, k equal to 2p divided by lambda. The oscillation speed vector is perpendicular to the wave vector. In the case when c is the basis speed of the atomic and subatomic levels equal to the speed of light, and the oscillation speed is equal to the speed of the electron in the first bar orbit of in the hydrogen atom, v equal to v0, we are at the following relation denoted by the letter alpha. Arnold Sommerfeld first drew attention to the magnitude of this relation of two characteristic speeds. Magnitude equal 1 to 137th. The fact is the same number, 137th, as Sommerfeld discovered, is obtained from the following combination of three fundamental constants parameters known by then in physics, E, H bar, and C. This one. Since then, the dimensional number alpha, presented in this form, in form 3, has been considered in physics as a separate fundamental physical constant, defined as a fine structure constant alpha, since the parameters constant making up alpha are included in the formulas that determine the structure of optical spectra. However, the deep meaning of the constant alpha, what determines the value of relation 3, was not understood by Sommerfeld and unfortunately has not been understood by physicists today, remaining the greatest mystery. So the knowledge of the nature of the alpha number 3, which was defined as a fine structure constant alpha, from the very beginning, as it has been and continues to be one of the most complex and unsolved problems of theoretical physics. Here is one of Richard's famous comments on this subject. There is a most profound and beautiful question associated with observed coupling constant. It has been a mystery even since it was discovered more than 50 years ago. Immediately, you would like to know where this number for coupling constant from. Is it related to p or perhaps to the base of natural logarithms? Nobody knows. It's one of the greatest damn mysteries of physics, a magic number that comes to us with no understanding by men. You might say the hand of God wrote that number, and we don't know how he pushed his pencil. Max Born stated the following: it is clear that the explanation of this number must be the central problem of natural philosophy. And for Pauli, the theoretical origin of the fine structure constant was also the most important of the unsolved problems of physics. When I die, the first thing I shall consider asking devil is, what is the meaning of the fine structure constant? and so on. The mystery of the number alpha was revealed only recently in the framework of the new basic physical theory based on dialectics, the wave model, which we developed to replace a series of the standard model that currently dominates physics. As we have found, the root cause of all problems of physics, including the problem of physical meaning of the fine structure constant alpha, is connected with a lack of understanding, as therefore not taking into account the fact that all objects, phenomena and processes in the universe have a wave nature. In particular, wave processes determine the origin of elementary particles, including electrons, and determine their behavior. In the framework of one of the two series of wave models, the dynamic model of elementary particles, the problem of alpha constant was solved naturally. Mainly this happened because the nature of the origin of the mass of particles, as well as the nature of their charges, were disclosed and understood due to dynamic model. Thanks to this, the true value and dimensionality of the electric charge of the electron has become known. Moreover, the original meaning and accordingly the initial expression for the constant h bar included in relation for alpha were also taken into account. However, the above and other discoveries of the dynamic model remain unknown to a wide range of physicists. As a consequence, in result of the existing gap in the knowledge of the true nature of the components included in the expression 3, the physical meaning of the value of their combination, alpha constant, naturally remains misunderstood. It continues to be an incomprehensible mystery of physics. Our studies has concluded that the constant alpha reflects the fundamental regularity of wave motion, scale correlation of threshold, state of conjugated parameters inherent in oscillation wave recesses. We will analyze the problem and show how we came to this conclusion, that is, to the disclosure of the physical meaning of alpha constant. This PowerPoint presentation is based on the material of two authors' lectures on the wave model. Here is references. Definition of alpha constant in physics. In modern physics, by the fine structure constant alpha is called a dimensionless quantity formed in SI system from a combination of four fundamental physical constants, E, h bar, C, and epsilon zero. This one, where E is the electron charge in coulombs, h bar is the Planck constant divided by 2p, epsilon zero, the so-called dielectric constant of free space or electric constant, and c is the speed of light. It is generally accepted to consider alpha as a convenient measure of the strength of electromagnetic interaction. Accordingly, alpha is considered as a coupling constant, which determines how electrically charged elementary particles, for example, electron, muon, and light photons, interact with each other. The inverse value of alpha is this value 5. The constant alpha was first introduced by Arnold Sommerfeld in 1916 when studying the Balmer spectral series in the framework of Bohr theory before the introduction of wave mechanics as quantity alpha equal to V0 divided by C, where V0 is the electron speed in the first Bohr orbit in the hydrogen atom. It's this value of this speed. Then, after some simple transformation in CGSE system, Sommerfeld discovered that the value of the ratio of speeds alpha, this value, is equal to the value of the combination of three fundamental constants. So, thanks to Sommerfeld, a constant alpha appeared in physics in the form of the following equation. this one, this in CGSA system, and this in system SI system. Ignoring the original relation, this relation, Sommerfeld drew attention only to the expression, this expression, since the fundamental constant E, H bar, and C that make up this expression for alpha are included in the formulas that determine the amount of splitting in the fine structure constant, the fine structure of spectral lines. Therefore, the ratio alpha, this ratio, was called the fine structure constant. The fine structure constant of alpha is also included in the so-called relativistic correction for the spectral terms formula obtained earlier by Sommerfeld when the hydrogen atom is calculated using the Dirac relativistic wave mechanics. The nature of constituents in the expression for alpha. It follows from these equalities, that the numerical value of alpha is obtained by two combinations of parameters. The first one, represented by the ratio of speed, this one, did not arouse much interest and was practically not discussed. The second expression for the number alpha, obtained by combination the fundamental constants parameters included in the formulas of optical spectra, made it possible to attribute to the numerical value alpha the meaning of the Copley constant. But the attributed meaning did not reveal the nature of the origin of strictly defined quantity alpha. This relation, only shows that alpha is a combination of fundamental physical constant E, H bar, and C. In theoretical physics, this constant characterizes respectively the discrete nature of electric charges, E, quantum theory, H bar, and relativity theory, C. The reduced Planck constant, H bar, equal to H divided by 2p, also called the Dirac constant, included in the expression for alpha. Also, it is considered in physics as fundamental, is not an independent fundamental constant. Having appeared for the first time in the theory of the Bohr atom, H bar is a combination of three truly fundamental independent parameter constants: the electron mass me, the Bohr speed v0, and Bohr radius r0. But the nature of the electron mass me is unknown. In general, the nature of mass inherent in all form of matter is still not understood. Is the greatest mystery for modern physics. Based on the dynamic model of elementary particles, proposed for the first time more than 2 decades ago, we found out the nature of the origin of the mass of particles, the nature of the electric charge, and consequently we now know the nature of the electron mass me, the true value and dimensionality of its charge E, and also the electric constant epsilon 0 actually represents. These discoveries have become the main key to solving the problem of revealing the physical meaning of the fine structure constant. The next such key was the wave model concept that we adhere to, according to which wave processes have collective character. The expression for the electron charge following from the formula for alpha, a unit of the SI system, has this form 7. The fundamental constant H bar generated by the Bohr theory of the atom, which included in this expression, is essentially the orbital angular momentum p orbital of an electron in the first Bohr orbit of radius r0, is defined as already mentioned above by the following equality: p orbital equal to product of these three parameters, where me is the electron mass, and R0 is the Bohr phase radius. The Planck constant h equal to 2p h bar is a physical quantity equal to orbital action of the electron in the first Bohr orbit in the hydrogen atom. That is equal to the orbital angular momentum of the electron multiplied by 2p. Substituting the expression for h, this one, into equality 7, equality 7, we write the formula for the electron charge expressed in terms of the electron mass, me, and two characteristic parameters, v0 and r0, of the equilibrium orbital motion of the electron around the proton in the hydrogen atom. The dimensionality of the electron charge following from this equality, expressed by the absolute units of matter, space, and time, gram, centimeter, secunda, is equal to these values. So dimensionality is equal to gram to the power of a half, and centimeter to the power 3/2, and divided by second. The same meaningless dimensionality of the electric charge Q follow from the Coulomb's law, both in the CGS and in SI system, where K is the proportionality coefficient, the two value and the dimensionality of which are still unknown to physics, like the nature of the charge Q. And therefore the Coulomb's law is still represented in the physics in its original, unfinished form, as shown here, CGS and in C. Both these expressions are present for the so-called vacuum, where the dielectric permeability of the medium epsilon equal 1. In the CGS E system and in the SI system, the proportionality coefficient K is equal to 1, because, as we have convincingly shown, in particular in these references, epsilon 0 equal to 1 to 4p. So this coefficient 1 to 4p epsilon 0 equal to 1 to 1. So it's identical expression, both identical expression. So dimensionality of the electron charge is expression, if even in absolute units of matter, gram, centimeter, space, centimeter, and time, second, but with the meaningless fraction exponents for two absolute units. This circumstance led as a result to the appearance in physics of pseudo-dimensions of units of electric current and electric charge, respectively, of ampere and coulomb, which covered the meaningless dimensionality of charge mentioned above with fractional exponents and the dimensionality of if derivative electric current. The dimensionality in coulombs does not say anything about the nature of the charge and made its cognition even more problematic. So both expressions, equality for alpha and Coulomb's law, due to ignorance of the true dimensionality of the electron charge E, and also due to the introduction of meaningless electric constant epsilon 0, are not understood in essence of the contents. The origin of the number alpha is unknown, where this number for a coupling comes from, which is still considered mythical, the most important of the unsolved problem of physics, and the nature of the electric charge is also unknown. What is an electric charge? To solve the problem of the nature of the electric charge Q, it is necessary to solve the problem of the proportionality coefficient K between the resulting force F and functional dependence in the Coulomb's law. Namely, it is necessary to determine the dimensionality and value of the coefficient K, still unknown to modern physics. This was what we did. Thanks to dynamic model, the dimensionality and therefore the physical meaning of electric charges were disclosed. It turned out the charge has an exchange character and is a measure of the rate of mass exchange, or briefly the power of mass exchange. The dimensionality of the exchange charge is gram per second. The exchange charge of an electron is 1.7 etc. multiplied by 10 to the power minus 9 gram per second. According to dynamic model, the electron charge is the minimum quantum of the rate of mass exchange. This discovery made it possible to understand many things, in particular to reveal the true form of the Coulomb's law, as well as the physical meaning of the alpha number, defined in physics as a fine structure constant. Physical meaning of the alpha constant. In the dynamic model of elementary particles, the speed v is the oscillatory speed of the boundary wave shell of particles, and c is the basis wave phase speed of the wave exchange interaction at the subatomic and atomic levels. In accordance with the dynamic model, the ratio of the oscillatory and wave components of the speeds v and c, respectively, of superstructure and the basis of the wave process reflects the existing natural relationship between active and reactive exchange charges Q, A, and Q. It's the notions of the dynamic model associated with these speeds. The maximum oscillatory speed V maximum, that a lighter particle of superstructure can have with respect to the basis speed c of its exchange interaction bond with the conjugated heavier particle in equilibrium is determined by this relation, where v0 and c are the speed mentioned about respectively. The speed electron is the first Bohr orbit in the hydrogen atom, its superstructure speed, and the basis speed of the wave exchange interaction of the proton with the electron, and the surrounding field space equal to the speed of light. In the general case, this relation expresses the scale correlation of the basis and superstructure wave field spaces, that is, conjugate oscillatory wave processes in the universe at all its levels. To further confirm the validity of this statement, let us consider as the following example. After the hydrogen atom, the parameter of the wave process at the level of the acoustic field perceived by man. Acoustic parameters defined by the constant alpha and h. One of the dynamic parameters of person is the threshold of audibility. The latter is equal to the sound pressure, this one, at a frequency near 1122 Hz in air under normal condition, temperature and pressure. The acoustic actions H A and the acoustic pressure P are related by the following equality 15, where M is the average mass of air molecules and ρ is the density of air. Therefore, the minimum acoustic actions as the threshold of human hearing corresponding to the minimum sound pressure is this value 6.629 multiplied to 10 to the power minus 27 erg second, where mr is the average relative mass of air particles, u atomic mass units, and ρ air density. Here is the parameter, value of this parameter. This is the actions, this minimum acoustic actions, associated with acoustic process practically coincides with the actions of Planck, with the Planck constant related to electromagnetic process. You can compare this value and dimensionality. So it's the same. It cannot be random. Nature demonstrates perfect harmony, both within one and between its different levels. The human body contains approximately 9.5% of hydrogen atoms. Therefore, certain parameters of person at the atomic level must also correlate with whatever of the basic parameter of the hydrogen atom. As shown here above, this parameter turned out to be the orbital angular momentum of the electron's surface Bohr orbit, the Planck constant h. It should also be noted that at the level of the hearing threshold, the minimum threshold amplitude of acoustic vibrations, A minimum, at a frequency, this frequency 1781 Hz, is equal to this value, 4.1696 multiplied by 10 to the power minus 10 centimeter, where Va is the speed of sound in air by the speed of an acoustic wave under normal conditions. The obtained value of A minimum coincides with the theoretical radius of electron sphere, the electron radius, following from this formula of the dynamic model for the mass elementary particle, where epsilon 0 is the absolute unit of density, and this term much less than 1, and epsilon r is equal to 1. So you can compare this value practically the same. At the upper acoustic threshold of pain at sound pressure, this value, the oscillatory speed threshold is this value. The ratio of the obtained threshold value of oscillatory speed, superstructure of acoustic wave, to the basis wave speed in air, sound speed, is equal 1/137. The obtained value related to the wave process at the acoustic level practically coincides with the value obtained from the relation characterizing the wave process occurring at the level of the electromagnetic field. At the electromagnetic field level, the threshold oscillation speed, superstructure speed, is equal to the first Bohr speed, V0, and the wave speed, basis speed, is equal to the speed of light c. In the above sense, the Bohr speed, V0, the speed of an electron in the first stationary orbit of radius r0, closest to the proton wave sphere, is the limiting threshold orbital speed of the electron that is allowed in the proton-electron system in the hydrogen atom. The wave nature of the alpha constant, the found regularity expressed by the ratios of the characteristic speeds of the basis and the superstructure in two wave processes related to different levels, electromagnetic and acoustic, indicates the ratio of the speed is universal, inherent in wave processes. So all the above arguments show that the called fine structure constant of microworld alpha, adopted in modern physics as a convenient measure of the strength of electromagnetic electricity, actually reflects scale correlation of threshold states, conjugated oscillatory wave processes at different levels of the universe, including atomic and subatomic. In other words, alpha reflects scale correlation of basis and superstructure parameters, wave field spaces of the universe having a contradictory spherical cylindrical nature. As this, for example, takes place in the field space of hydrogen atom. Hydrogen atom is dynamically coupled, centrally symmetric system. The central key bymass component, the proton, has a spherical wave field. By this spherical radial field, the proton beams exchanges with the surrounding field space and with the orbital electron movement, of which around the proton is associated with a cylindrical wave field. The behavior of both dynamic components of proton-electron system, the proton and the electron, is described respectively by spherical and cylindrical wave functions, which are naturally and harmoniously interconnected in the system. So the constant alpha reflects the mentioned harmonic relationship of the numerical values of the parameters, not only between two components of the proton-electron system under consideration, but also between the parameters of other wave conjugate system. This follows from all the data obtained in the wave model. Summarizing, there is every reason to assert that characteristic feature we have examined, reflecting the fundamental regularity in nature, makes up the physical meaning of the alpha constant, its numerical value. The ratio alpha V0 per C, first obtained by Sommerfeld, as well as this ratio, demonstrates such a regularity, harmonic relationship which exists in particular in the hydrogen atom. Relatively little time has passed since the first publication on wave models. Therefore, of course, the information about the discovery within wave model of the physical meaning of alpha is a scale factor reflecting the harmonic relationship between the oscillatory and wave components of the wave process. Quite convincingly, I believe, shown here, has not yet reached the vast majority of physicists who still adhere to the standard model. Accordingly, the so-called coupling constant or fine structure constant alpha, introduced into a series of truly fundamental physical constants, will remain yet long in physics as a mystical, dimensionless number, and considered as convenient measure of the strength of electromagnetic interactions. Part 2. Derivation of alpha constant. To fully understand the physical meaning of the number alpha, to confirm its wave nature, let us derive various versions of the formulas for alpha. We will base it on the concepts and the formalism of the wave model. First, we derive the alpha constant formula in the traditional form accepted in physics, expression form, in the SI system, this one. This expression contains a fundamental constant E, h bar, and c, where E is the electron charge presented in subjective units, coulombs. But in wave model, we use the electron charge E in objective units, that is, its true value and dimensionality, discovered in wave model, in absolute units of meta-spacetime, E equivalent to 1.7 multiplied with 10 to the power minus 9 gram per second. So you can compare modern physics, electric charge value, and the dimensionality. As regards the parameter epsilon 0 in the proportionality factor, 1 to 4p epsilon 0, we considered it in detail in this wax. It is worth recalling the following. The constant epsilon 0 appeared in physics as a result of manipulation with dimensionalities when creating the SI system. It was subjectively introduced into a series of fundamental constants of physics as an electric constant. This was a gross mistake. Referring to what was said about in part 1, our studies have shown that epsilon 0 equals 1 to 4p, hence coefficient 1 to 4p epsilon 0 equal 1, and therefore in fact in the SI system of units, as in CGSE system of units, expression for the alpha is the same. We will use the energy relation considered in previous video, where the fundamental feature of the concept adopted in the new basic physical theories, the wave model, for the description of wave motion response processes in physical field spaces were discussed in some detail. Suppose that quasi-particles of a certain micro level, which are elementary masses volumes, regularly move, oscillate with an average speed v according to exponential law. If this oscillatory motion is superimposed on a wave motion whose velocity is equal to c, the total energy of the quasi-particles is presented in the following form. This component, mcv, takes into account the transfer of additional energy caused by the ordered movement of the quasi-particle. This is the oscillation wave energy of wave mass exchange. This energy can also be obtained as follows. The equation for the mass exchange process at the basis level with the basis speed c has the form time derivative of mass and c. Therefore, the oscillation wave energy of mass exchange is this integral, mcv, where c is the displacement at the speed v. The corresponding mass transfer energy density has this value. The wave flow of motion with the resultant energy density, this energy density, is physiologically perceived as a pressure, and therefore it is called pressure. At the level of solids, the energy density, the kinematic dynamic energy, is called stress. The first term into this one is 10 is the kinematic energy of the basis level. The carrier energy mass exchange is the basis level, where time derivative of displacement dl equals c. We call the dynamic energy of a particle at this level, mc squared. We came to the formula that coincides in form with the well-known in physics formula of the relativistic energy of particles. This fact and the conclusion following from it were examined in detail by us in this way, with these references. The density of dynamic energy at the basis level is this value. The third term in parentheses is oscillation energy. Mass exchange energy at the level of oscillation, where time derivative of mass v at f and v is the time derivative of displacement c, is equal mv squared. Is this integral mv squared. The density of dynamic energy at the level of oscillation superstructure is equal corresponding to this value. At the level of solids, the energy density is called the elastic modulus. The mass exchange energy densities at the level of basis superstructure WCV and the basis level WC are related by this equality. The ratios of densities WV to WCV lead to the similar relation. The maximum value of the ratio VC in this equation, at which solids are destroyed, called the ultimate stress, is approximately equal to the value of alpha 1/137th. It should be kept in mind that at the level of solids, the basis speed c is equal to the speed of light in them. Let us turn again to the expression, this expression, for the case when oscillatory speed of the quasi-particles v is equal to the oscillatory speed v0 of the electron, the first Bohr orbit of radius r0. And its mass is respectively the mass of the electron. So me v0 squared. The electron mass me is determined in dynamic model according to the following simplified formula, where epsilon 0 is the absolute unit of density. Substituting the value of electron mass me, known from the reference data, into this formula, we find the radius of the spherical shell of the electron radius Re. Here, this value is its value. The electron charge is defined following the dynamic mode by this expression. It's product of associated mass and fundamental frequency of atomic and subatomic level, which have this value, the discovery of the wave. Taking as above this equality discovered in the dynamic model into account, as well as the condition for circular motion for its cylindrical field, that is Kepler's third law, v squared r equal to constant, from which it follows this quality, the parameter for electron, that's for proton. We come to the expression for the energy of mass exchange at the level of oscillation in the following form. You can look attentively on this transformation. So the oscillation wave energy of mass exchange under indicated condition is equal to this value, that's expression 27. The ratio of the resulting mass exchange energy, oscillatory, this energy, and oscillatory wave, this, determines the fine structure constant alpha in the form 4, which contain fundamental physical constant E, H bar, and C. So, ratio of this energy and the ratio of speeds, and we obtain the same form of the equation for alpha is the form accepted in modern physics, 4. But inequalities obtained in the wave model, in this one and this one, epsilon 0 is the absolute unit of density, absolute unit 1 gram per centimeter cubed, and the electron charge equal to 1.7 multiplied to 10 to the power minus 9 gram per second, which is by definition is the elementary quantum of the mass exchange rate discovery of wave model. Recall once again that in the expression 4 adopted in physics, the same in form of the expression adopted, the constant epsilon 0 is represented in this form with dimensionality Faraday per meter, while in fact, as mentioned above, it is equal to a dimensionless number, namely epsilon 0 equal to 1 to 4p. And the electron charge in 4 is represented in coulombs, Obviously, in the case of the ratio of oscillation wave energy, VCE, VC, 46, and wave dynamic energy is equal to MEC squared, under the above condition, we write the same formula. So this ratio energy or this ratio energy, we have the same, the same. So finally we have alpha equal E squared divided by these parameters. So considering the energy of the particles participating in the wave motion, we come to the same fundamental relationship inherent in wave processes. Substituting further in the expressions, this expression for alpha parameters that determine the Dirac constant h bar and the electron charge E, so each h bar, this one, and the electron charge E, m, e, by E, discovery of dynamic wave, we come to the equality, to this equality, the equality. So now electron mass, which include in this expression and in this and this one, has associated character and determines the dynamic model by the following formula. The RE reduces the wave spherical shelf of the electron, epsilon the absolute unit of density, Ke is a fundamental wave number, and lambda bar E fundamental wave radius. Substituting this expression for the electron mass into the expression for alpha, this expression for alpha, and taking into account that V0 equals alpha C, as a result we finally arrive at a previously unknown original true form of expression for the constant alpha. What's this one? Since the term much less than 1, it can be neglected in equation 41. This equation 41 takes the simplified form. The obtained expression for alpha 51 and 52 contain wave parameters that are independent of any other constant parameters, in opposite to expression 4 accepted in physics, and have a clear physical interpretation in wave model. Omega E is a fundamental frequency of atomic and subatomic level. RE or the radii of the wave spherical shield for the electron and proton pulsating is the frequency omega E. C is the basis wave speed of propagation disturbances in the space surrounding the particles caused by pulsations of wave spherical shell. Is the fundamental quantum of the field of the exchange rate. So it's a discovery of the wave model. This RE also discovers the wave model, and this parameter and the discovery of physical meaning of this parameter. We now determine the numerical values of the constant I, which follow from the form of 51 and 52. To do this, we substitute the numerical value of the wave parameters included in the above formulas. Here they are the fundamental frequency atomic and subatomic level has this value, speed of light, radius of wave spherical shield of the electron, and Bohr radius. After substituting the above data in formula 51, we obtain the following value for the constant alpha and its inverse value. Obtained inverse value of alpha constant with high accuracy coincides with the recommended by Sodata value, the same value. The calculation performed according to the simplified formula 52 gives the following value. The practical is the same. The data obtained convincingly support the validity of the formulas for alpha 51 and 52. which contain fundamental wave parameters discovered in the wave model, determining the wave structure and behavior of particles. Analysis of formulas obtained in the wave model for alpha. Expression 52 present for alpha is the form where it was taken into account that product omega E equal to the speed of the field on the surface of an electron wave shell with a radius RE, and the expression 2 in the expression is this expression 2 determine ratio between speed and radius of wave shell surfaces of the electron and proton. So let's compare this one, we arrive to these relations. Indeed, when moving, the field of any particle, including an electron, is cylindrical, representing a wave trajectory, where the speed of the transverse oscillatory motion is equal to this expression. Let us find the speed of the field, VE, on the surface of the wave shell of the electron using this equality. Substituting the value of the Bohr radius and speed R0, V0, and also radius of wave spherical shells of the electron RE, obtained from the formula of the dynamic model for the mass of particles, into 57 in this ratio, we come to the following value of the speed V0, this one. Hence, knowing the speed V0 and radius RE, using the formula for the electron charge and the mass ME, taking into account this one and epsilon 0 equal 1 gram per centimeter cubed, and neglecting this term, we find the value of the electron exchange charge. So, using this formula discovered in the wave model, taking into account what I listed about, we arrive to this expression, and substituting all the data, we arrive at the value of the electron charge 1.7 multiplied with 10 to the power minus 9 gram per second. Obtained value of the charge completely coincides with the known experimental value of the electron charge. Reduce it to dimensionality gram per second according to this formula. It's formula for bringing the phenomenological value of the electron charge in units of charge in the CGSE system. This is phenomenological, known from the reference data, known from the literature. Into objective, it's a formula for bringing phenomenological value of the electron charge into objective units of charge, the wave model. So in this formula, epsilon 0 is the absolute unit of density. So it's a known value of electric charge in the CGSE units of charge. And by this formula, we arrive at the electron charge, true value of electron charge in objective units. Based on the elementary amplitude-wave relation, we can write the following equalities. From these relations, it follows that the radius of the electron sphere, RE, is the fundamental quantum amplitude of oscillation of matter space, RE equal amplitude, AE. On the other hand, the equatorial cycle of the electron 2p RE is the elementary electron wave of the basis, fits twice at the Bohr radius, if it were a radial wave. This ratio is not accidental. In this sense, the nucleon sphere is a binary electron wave. Summary and conclusion. So we have reasonably well-founded arguments proving that the fine structure constant alpha determines the scale correlation of the basis and the superstructure of wave processes, in particular the correlation between the field speeds on the wave surfaces shells of the conjugated proton-electron binary system at the radii and the radio of this shell. Ignorance of the nature of the components in expression for alpha accepted in physics, the fundamental physical constant E, C, and E included in H bar, as well as introduction into in the SI system of the dubious electric constant epsilon zero, resulting from manipulation with dimensionality when creating SI system, still did not allow in principle to understand the nature of origin, the numerical value of the constant alpha. The indicated components have a clear physical interpretation in wave model. Their physical meaning was discovered in wave model. Wave model relies on the axiom of dialectic. Namely, the constant c is the basis wave speed of the exchange of matter space-time at the atomic and subatomic level, equal to the speed of light. Is the fundamental quantum of the field of the exchange rate. The constant epsilon zero is the absolute unit of density equal to 1 gram per centimeter cubed. Mass me is associated mass of the electron. The charge E is the elementary quantum of the mass exchange rate. Just the discoveries, thanks to wave model of the nature of the above constant, played a key role in understanding the physical meaning and nature of the origin of the number alpha. On the one hand, the constant alpha represents the ratio of two characteristic speed in hydrogen atom, namely the threshold oscillatory speed V0 of the orbital electron and the basis wave speed c. On the other hand, the fine structure constant alpha is combination fundamental physical constant. It contains a dynamic parameter or system of hydrogen atom in equilibrium E, Me, V0, R0, and C. No, since H bar equal to this product of these parameters, these three parameters. The hydrogen atom is the simplest proton-electron system that emits electromagnetic wave under certain conditions. Therefore, it's not surprising that the parameters making up alpha listed above are included in the expressions for the spectral terms of hydrogen and hydrogen-like atoms. This is related, as mentioned above, with the origin of Sommerfeld idea, first put forward by him in 1916, to consider the number obtained from the combination of fundamental parameters E, H bar, and C, alpha, as a separate constant called alpha, characterizing the strength of electromagnetic interaction. The final expression for alpha, this one, contain only fundamental wave parameters, omega E, C, Re, and R0, characterizing the structure of wave formation and their behavior. The fundamental frequency omega E and the basis speed c of the wave exchange interactions, the atomic subatomic, as well as the radio of the wave shell of proton and electron. So we have three different forms of presentation of the constant alpha. This one, and this one. Since this term much less than 1 and this product equal to the VE, the final expression, this final expression can be reduced to the following simplest form. Equating the expression for alpha with this expression with the first one, this one, we arrive the following relation. We see that alpha uniquely related to Kepler's third law, this one, since equality, this equality, directly follow from this law, from this Kepler's said law. In addition, I recall a fragment from a statement by Fermi quoted at the beginning. Where this number for a complex compound comes from? Is it related to P or perhaps to the base of natural logarithms? Nobody knows. In the framework of the wave model, we made the discovery that along with the mathematical constant P in the base of natural logarithm E mentioned above, in the universe there is one more previously unknown irrational fundamental constant, namely the fundamental period quantum delta equal to P logarithm E. This number follows from the law of decimal base, decimal code of the universe, which we discovered in the framework of the wave model of dialectical physics. As it turned out, the number alpha is associated just with fundamental period quantum delta. Indeed, the cardinal number of the inverse value of the fine structure constant with a sufficient degree of accuracy coincides with the measure of the fundamental half period of the decimal code of the universe. So you can compare this value and this value. Almost completely coincide. And the cardinal number of the inverse value of alpha, calculated by the simplified formula 53, also completely coincide with this number. Almost coincide with the half of the fundamental period quantum. The fundamental period quantum delta of the decimal code of the universe is a number that determines the strict rhythm of all processes in the universe, which is in the continuous oscillatory wave motion, determines the fundamental wave relations in it, including the relationship discussed here related to the number alpha. According to the wave model, the harmonic interconnection of all objects, processes, and phenomena in nature obeys the decimal code and is implemented at the strictly defined fundamental frequency. The convincing argument presented here in a natural and consistent way and unambiguously testify to the wave nature of the constant alpha. In general, all the data presented above confirms the validity of the concept underlying the new general theory of physics, the wave model. So, the number alpha is related to the wave parameter, fundamental frequency atomic and subatomic levels, omega e. Basis wave speed, C of propagation, disturbances in the surrounding space caused by pulsation wave spherical shells for particles at the fundamental frequency omega e. Radio wave pulsating shell of conjugate particles, in particular of the proton-electron system R0 and RE. Fundamental period quantum delta of the decimal code of the universe. Summing up, we can state that thanks to the wave model of dialectical physics, the mystery of the number alpha is finally revealed. References. This one. Thank you very much for your attention.